Good evening and welcome to the September 2025 regular meeting of the Gaston County Board of Commissioners. My name is Chad Brown. I serve as chairman of the board as well as the commissioner for Riverbend Township. I would like to welcome our viewers and thank Spectrum Cable and AT&T for making it possible for our citizens, for our television audience and live streaming audience. I would like to present your Gaston County Commissioner beginning on my far right.
Alan Fraley, Cherville Township.
Good evening, Scott Sheehan, Gastonia Township.
Good evening, Jim Bailey, South Point Township.
Good evening, Kathy Cloninger, Dallas Township.
Welcome, everyone. Bob Hovis, Crowder's Mountain Township.
Good evening, Tom Kieger.
Going to have several points of order before we get started tonight. I wanted to let everybody know that we'll be having a moment of silence for the Charlie Kirk incident that happened. And, you know, it's no one deserves to die for the right to speak in this country. The moment of silence is about the spirit and of courage. It's not of fear. The Holy Spirit will be with us throughout. When we keep the law, we're truly blessed in this country and how we get things done. It was a tragedy for the assault of the sacred principles that we hold closest to us. And I want to say to Charlie, well done, my good and faithful servant. After our moment of silence, Shannon Williams, the pastor of Finish Line Christian Center, is going to be giving the invocation tonight, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance from Commissioner Hovis. But if you'll please stand with me and observe a moment of silence.
Heavenly Father, we just come before you now in the name of Jesus, the name that is above all names. It is declared that there is no other name given among heaven whereby we must be saved, except for the name of Jesus. Lord, we cry out to you tonight, God, as you would tell us to do in 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then you said, I will hear from heaven, I will forgive their sin, and I will heal their land. And so, Lord, we do, God, we ask for your forgiveness as we repent for the sins of our country. We ask, God, that you would help us to turn from wickedness and ungodliness. Lord, and we do ask, God, that you would bring a healing to those hurting, broken, and those that are divided in our nation, bringing them together under one banner, Jesus Christ. We pray, God, for the President, the Senate, Congress, those in authority, those here, God, that's been appointed and elected, God, to lead. We ask, God, that you would give them wisdom, guidance, Lord, as we are commanded to pray for those that are in leadership, God, because they need the prayers. And we ask, God, that you would allow the swift justice, God, against the wicked and unrighteous and immoral, God, that you would raise up righteous men and women full of courage. And we just pray, God, that our nation would have healing and blessing in your mighty name. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shannon, can you please announce what you guys are doing Sunday night, please?
Yes, this Sunday night at Finish Line Christian Center, the address is 108 North Main Street, beautiful downtown Mount Holly. We're having a Awaken America Faith and Freedom Rally. It's in honor of Charlie Kirk, what he stood for, and we're going to be rallying together people who love God, people who love this country, and are willing to stand up and declare truth with love and compassion for the healing of our land.
Thank you, sir.
We welcome everybody to come and participate. We'd love to have you.
First item on the agenda is proclamations, commendations, awards, and certificate. Commissioner Cloninger from the Board of Commissioners will now proclaim the month September 17th through the 23rd, 2025 as Constitution Week. As she makes her way down, she will have the podium. Commissioner Cloninger.
Okay, could the members of the
Major William Chronicle chapter. Please come forward. Okay. Whereas September the 17th, 2025 marks the 238th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition of this magnificent document and memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasions. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designing September the 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. And now, therefore, it be resolved by the virtue of the authority vested in the Gaston County Board of Commissioners that the Board proclaims the week of September 17th through 23rd, 2025 as Constitution Week, and urges all citizens to reaffirm the ideas of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained, to be adopted the 23rd day of September the 2025. And I'd also like to add this piece of information. The National Society Daughters of American Revolution started this celebration petitioning Congress in 1955 to establish a week dedicated for the observance of the Constitution. Congress adopted a resolution which was signed into public law on August 2, 1956 by President Dwight D. Eisenhower, dedicating the observance of Constitution Week. Constitution Week is a great time to learn more about the important document and to celebrate the freedom that it gives us all. And so now we may have someone to speak from the chapter.
Mr. Chairman and Ms. Vice Chairman, our friend Kathy. Good evening, everybody. We are honored as a chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution, the Major William Chronicle chapter, to be here tonight and to accept this proclamation. As Commissioner Cloninger mentioned, this started when the DAR petitioned Congress, and in 1956, under President Dwight Eisenhower, it was approved, and we have been proudly ringing bells ever since. And we thank you very much for this tonight. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is public hearings. The commission will take citizens' comments tonight on 6 public hearings, and comments will be taken following each issue. Zoning map change REZ-223 continued from August 26th. Zoning map change REZ-225. Ordinance authorizing abatement and demolition of parcel ID 309450. Economic development to amend the incentive grant for Edgewood Industrial Phase 1 owner LP. EDC to authorize the incentive grant for Project CNC. Access permission to apply for the NCDOT PTD FY27 Community Transportation. Before we begin, let me outline the rules of procedure of the hearing. Citizens wishing to make comments will be recognized by the chair and then requested to step to the microphone for their comments. Citizens will state their name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes tonight. All questions shall be directed to the chair for response. The chair shall rule on all points of order during the hearing. Do I hear a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor? We are now unanimous is in public hearing. The Gaston County Commission will now take citizens' comment on public hearing zoning map change REZ-223 Mackenzie Marie Mayers. This public hearing was continued from August. Ms. Jamie Leasy, Planner 1 Building and Development Services, will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Leesy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. REZ 25-03-25-00223 is a general rezoning request for parcel ID 171661 located at 220 FL Myers Road. The applicant, Mackenzie Myers, is requesting to rezone the 4.06 acre parcel from the R1 Single Family Limited Zoning District with the US overlay to the R2 Single Family Moderate Zoning District with US overlay. The subject property is located east of Dallas and north of Ranlo. The aerial photograph shows this lot is surrounded by a variety of housing types, including a mobile home park to the southeast. The zoning map shows the surrounding zoning districts of R1, R2, and R3 in the general vicinity of the subject property. This map shows who was notified about the public hearing. A sign was placed on site and notices were sent out in accordance with general statutes. We received one general inquiry about this request. This is a list of property owners who received a mailed notice. And while researching this request, we noticed two homes on the property. The building addressed 220 was the original manufactured home. The second manufactured home was placed on the property in 2017 with the condition that the original home would be removed. The home was not removed in 2017, but the applicant has contracted a company to remove the original manufactured home from the property. Staff is comfortable moving forward with this rezoning, as the homeowners are working on removing the building, and the planning department will not issue any permits for this new building until we have received confirmation that the building has been removed. The lot is serviced by a private well and septic system and is accessed off an NCDOT maintained road. This request was heard by the TRC. GCL MPO provided a letter stating that there are no funded transportation improvements in the immediate vicinity, and there are no additional TRC comments at this time. The subject parcel is located in Area 3, Riverfront Gaston, of the Comprehensive Land Use Plan, and the future land use plan designation is rural. This request was heard by the Planning and Zoning Board at its August meeting, and the board recommended approval by a unanimous 7-0 vote. With that, I ask that you receive the staff report and presentation. As always, the board has the ability to recommend to approve with modification, or to deny the request. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my presentation. I stand by for any questions you or the board may have, but the applicant has submitted a letter to the board that I would like to read into record now. Mackenzie Myers, 220 FL Myers Road, Gastonia. She says, "Thank you for taking the time to review this application for general rezoning. The purpose of this rezoning request is to be able to have the opportunity to move out of my own home, but still have my family close by. I would like to put my own home on the front acre of this land. My future plans are to continue the tradition of the family before and start my own family here on this land. I understand the concern about having the old building still on the property behind my parents' home. We have found a company that is willing to remove the building. On August 30th, we signed a contract with them, and on Thursday, September 18th, they advised us they would be able to remove the building within 30 days. I want to thank you again for taking this time to review the request." That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Any comments from the applicant at this time? Seeing none, any citizens wishing to comment on this issue at this time? Any questions from the Board of Commissioners? Seeing none, if there are no additional comments, I will declare the public hearing closed. Just to recap, the planning board was unanimously recommended approval, finding that it be reasonable to the public interest and consistent with the goals of the comp plan set forth by Gaston County. Do I hear a motion to accept the planning board's recommendation to approve?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Kieger, seconded by Commissioner Hovis. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? 5-2, ma'am. To approve. The next item, Citizens Commission, the County Commission will take citizens' comments on public hearing zoning map change REZ-225. Land Use Consultant LLC is the applicant. Ms. Peyton Wiggins, Planning 2. Building and Development Services will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Please, Ms. Wiggins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. REZ-25-04-01-00225 is a general rezoning request from Land Use Consulting LLC on behalf of the property owners Jack and Jill Atkins. The subject parcel is 225342 or 130 Georgia Bell Avenue in Belmont. The request before you this evening is to rezone from the default R1 Single Family Limited Zoning District to the RS20 Single Family 20,000 square feet zoning district. The vicinity map shows the parcel is located within a county pocket between Belmont, Cramerton, McAdamville, and Mount Holly city limits. The ortho photo shows there is one single-family dwelling on the subject property. For background, this property was within the City of Belmont's ETJ until July 29, 2025, and was zoned RR, or Rural Residential, under the Belmont Land Development Code. The property owners are requesting a rezoning to the RS20 single-family 20,000 square foot zoning district rather than the county's default R1 single-family limited zoning district. Based on the surrounding properties and comparable lot sizes, staff supports the RS20 district as it's compatible with the surrounding area. Applicants do intend to eventually subdivide the property, which would further support this request. The properties shown in white here are neighboring municipality zoning jurisdictions. County zoning-wise, there is RS12 across the street with C2, RS20, and I2 further out. If approved, any allowed uses in the RS20 single-family 20,000 square foot zoning district would be permitted in accordance with standards and regulations adopted in the UDO. This slide shows who was notified for the Board of Commissioners public hearing this evening. A sign was placed on site on September 9th, and notices were mailed on September 8th, all in accordance with general statutes. So far, we've received one inquiry about this rezoning. An adjacent property owner reached out asking about the rezoning and what the meeting information was. This slide shows the information for those who were notified about the public hearing. There are no public utilities in the vicinity, so the site will be served by a well and septic system. Georgia Bell is an NCDOT road. This request went before the Gaston County TRC on Wednesday, July 23rd, and there were no major comments at this time. The GCL MPO's letter has been attached to your staff packet, but states there are no major funded transportation improvement projects within the vicinity of the site. This property falls within Area 4, the Garden Gaston Southeast Gaston Small Area Plan within the Comprehensive Land Use Plan. As for the future land use, this property was released from the City of Belmont's ETJ in 2018 and does not have an assigned future land use designation. Properties in the immediate vicinity are designated as suburban development, and staff is comfortable applying this designation to the subject property. Suburban development consists of significant single-family residential areas that exist around commercial pockets representing a standard suburban center. Staff finds this application as presented consistent with the goals and future land use designation found within the comp plan. The Planning and Zoning Board heard this request at its August 25th meeting and recommended approval by an 8-0 vote. So with that, Mr. Chairman, this concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all may have.
Thank you, ma'am. Any comments from the applicant at this time who wishes to speak? Ms. Hamilton.
Good evening, thank you. My name is Laura Hamilton, owner of Land Use Consulting LLC. I am requesting on behalf of my client to rezone this property from the default R1 zoning to the RS20 zoning district. The parcel was released from Belmont as staff had stated, originally in November of 2024, and then they modified it again in March of 2025, that release. The surrounding property is zoned compatible with the RS12, RS20, C1, and I2 zoning districts in the vicinity. And we are just asking that this R1 zoning that the county currently has on the property is changed to RS20.
Any citizens wishing to comment at this time on this issue? You have to come to the microphone, please, sir. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Marco Swalborn, and I live at 206 Peach Orchard Road, which is adjacent to this property. The concerns that I have are that we are all on well and septic, and everyone has no less than a half-acre lot, and these are going to be reduced to small lots with starter homes, which would reduce the property value of the homes adjacent. Also, the Peach Orchard Road is very heavily trafficked in that intersection on the proposed site of Georgia Bell, and Peach Orchard has no less than one accident monthly, with recently a fatality accident at this location. And they want to add more homes to this location, which are going to be like small starter homes if the lot is only reduced. They just moved to our neighborhood, so they're not from our neighborhood. They're not traditionally. I don't even know them. I've tried to knock on their door and speak to them. No one has been able to speak to them, adjacent neighbors, and they're not even present today. They used a third party. So I'm not in favor of this action, and I thank you for your time.
Yes, sir, thank you. Any other citizens wishing to comment on this? Please step to the microphone, please, sir.
My name is William Somerville. I live at 141 Georgia Bell Avenue, which is directly across the street from the property we're talking about today. So I've got a couple of questions. So the whole lot is looking at being rezoned. So at 20,000 square feet, how many homes could be put on there? And in Gaston County, is single family considered like a townhome that could share a wall? From my understanding, different counties or zonings, single family could mean different things. Is there anybody that could potentially speak to the questions?
Right behind you, sir. After you're through with your comments.
Sir, I'm
Are you
sorry.
through with your comments?
I've got, I guess, those are the questions. The other thing is, at that intersection, there is a lot of accidents. I mean, I've had people roll into my yard and, the fire department have to come out and cut them out with the jaws of life and such. That is a very dangerous intersection at the corner of Georgia Bell and Peach Orchard. So those are my two main questions regarding how many different units could go on that property, and is single family considered a single home, or it could be townhomes that share a wall? Thank you.
Ms. Wiggins.
So, sorry, this
That's
is.
okay.
So if you're concerned about townhomes wouldn't be allowed in this zoning district. That would have to go under a whole nother use type, and that would require more than likely a conditional rezoning, so we wouldn't be able to do that by right with either the R1 zoning district or the RS20 zoning district, which is the proposed.
With 20,000 square feet, what are the setbacks? If you put a well and have to run field lines out, again, how many units could go on this property, and how far would they have to be apart with the setbacks for a septic tank, a well, and field lines?
So I can't speak to the environmental health side of things, but from a zoning perspective, with the current zoning of R1, they would be allowed to subdivide the one lot into two. And then with the RS20, they would maybe get 3 or 4 max out of the whole parcel as a whole.
Are there any plans, to your knowledge, to take down the current existing home that's there?
I'll defer to the applicant on that. I don't have any knowledge of that.
Go ahead, Ms. Hamilton.
Just to respond to a couple of the concerns that have been brought up, the property owner, unfortunately, Jill Atkins passed away earlier this year, so Jack is still residing on the property. He lives in that home. He does not plan on moving out or tearing down his home. They are interested in subdividing the property currently in half, so both properties would meet the current R1 zoning district. Both the current property owner and the proposed buyer of half of the property are interested in being able to have future options with the RS20. As staff has stated, RS20 at best, if they could work it with the health department for wells and septics, maybe 3 to 4 homes total, including the existing one that's there.
Ms. Payton, can you come and please explain by right what they could do, just to help this gentleman on what they could do already without even coming tonight?
Sure. So in the R1 zoning district, that is our most restrictive residential zoning district. It's the blanket kind of default zoning district throughout the county. And basically for residential wise, you're looking at single family, or that could be modular or stick built, or a duplex if the lot size is allowed for it. There are other uses like maybe anybody would be allowed, so maybe a private home occupation or kind of more residential uses, but really it's not going to be anything too intense in this very restrictive residential district.
Is there in R1, is there
If you could please just step to the microphone, just so you can speak in, just so y'all can speak back and forth.
is there what are the setbacks for the homes? Do you know? And it could be duplexes you're stating, or could it be apartments as well?
So that would be multifamily. So apartments would be a whole nother use, which would not be allowed in R1 or our RS20. But for duplexes, our ordinance requires 40,000 square foot lots. So if they were to rezone to RS20 and they wanted to subdivide into 20,000 square foot lots, they would be unable to put duplexes on those lots because they would not meet our minimum lot size requirements.
So one of the things if you'll repeat again, they could do this already. And what they're currently trying to do, even without coming to, I think they're trying to get it where if they were to subdivide the lot, if they ever wanted to sell, that would be just by right, by use of what they're trying to do.
Correct, yes.
Does that answer your question, sir? Thank you.
And the uses between R1 and RS20, they're very similar. It's just really the lot sizes is your main difference.
Any other citizens wishing to comment on this matter at this time? Any questions from the Board of Commissioners? Mr. Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Wiggins, I know we've kind of touched on this, but do we have any firsthand concrete knowledge from the applicant as to ultimately down the road how many potential sites they potentially would want to see on this site? I know you're tossing around 3 to 4. Is that
Right.
speculation? Has that conversation been had?
That conversation's been had, and based off of acreage, right now, they are looking to just subdivide it into 2, which would be, each lot would result in about an acre and some change. I don't exactly know the acreage to the actual decimal point, but after that, I don't know if they exactly know what they want to do at this time. They just want to have the option to further subdivide down the road.
Do we know approximately what the size of the current home on that site is?
The current home,
Yes, ma'am.
I do not off the top of my head. Do you have I don't have that information right this second, but I'm happy to get it for you.
Please. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments from the Board of Commissioners? Seeing none, I will declare the public hearing closed. Just to recap, the Planning Board has unanimously recommended approval, finding it to be reasonable in the public interest and is consistent with the goals of the Gaston County Comp Plan. Do I hear a motion to accept the Planning Board's recommendation to approve?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Kieger, seconded by Commissioner Bailey. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? 6-1, Madam Clerk. Oh, sorry. And we're providing the consistency statement. I assume we already have those portioned in. Just want to make sure we're getting that clear tonight. Gaston County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing COD-458 to adopt an ordinance authorizing the housing inspector to abate all public nuisance and vacate and demolish dwellings and all structures located at 3014 Birchfield Lane, Gastonia. Parcel ID 309450 as unfit for human habitation pursuant to 4-137, the Gaston County Code of Orders. Jamie Kimberlew, Director of Planning, Zoning, Building and Development Service, will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Kimberlew.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This presentation is for a request to adopt an ordinance that ultimately allows the county to demolish the structures located at 3014 Birchfield Lane in Gastonia. This first map shows that the subject property is located in the southern part of the county. Access is off of 321 South, and the property is tucked in a highly residential area. This area was part of a large ETJ release that was completed in 2012. A majority of the area is zoned RS8 and RS12, which indicates smaller residential lots. While there are a handful of newer homes in the area, many of the homes were constructed between 1900 and 1990. Since this is not a case that we often see, I wanted to review the county's minimum housing process. This process is enforced by our Planning and Zoning Department. Overall, the code outlines what needs to be provided at a minimum for someone to be able to occupy a home. Staff finds that the minimum housing code was ultimately written to protect residents. However, the process does lean more towards protecting tenants and rental properties. This case is unique in that we are coordinating with the property owners as the residents. As we review the case, you'll notice the timeline was somewhat drawn out, as staff was doing everything we could to work with the property owners. When we process these kinds of cases, we never want to displace anyone from their home. When we start minimum housing cases with tenants, one of the first things we share with them is that the following process could potentially lead to them not being able to live in the structure. We do not like to start cases without all parties being completely aware that the code and the process has an ultimate effect of displacing residents and tenants and possibly removing a structure. As an overview, the minimum housing process does involve inspections, an administrative hearing, which is a staff-led hearing, and then an order. If the property owner carries out the order and brings the property into compliance, then the case is closed out. However, if they do not come into compliance, then the order allows the county to take necessary steps to carry out the order so long as the Board of Commissioners adopts an ordinance to do so. Our staff completed the initial inspection of the home and found over 30 minimum housing violations that needed to be addressed. The administrative hearing details were sent to the property owners. However, no one attended the hearing on their behalf. At this hearing, an order was given to demolish the structures on site. The cost estimate for this site was included in your agenda packets and outlines the minimum estimated costs for repairing plumbing, electrical systems, heating equipment, windows, cooking appliances, and additional inspections to determine what else may need to be repaired. This estimate amounted to over $47,000. The ordinance defines structures as dilapidated when the cost to repair exceeds 50% of the tax value of the property. In these cases, our recommendation is to demolish the structure, as the cost to replace or repair the structure would likely exceed the current value. As of today, staff has not received any appeal requests from the property owners. The final day to appeal the order would have been yesterday. Staff did inspect the property today as well, and notes that no changes have been made since the last inspection. I would like to enter these photos into the record if the board is okay with it.
Motion to accept this information. Second. All in favor?
Thank you.
I think it says chair out there.
To continue providing an overview of the property, the structures on site were built in 1955. The property was transferred to the current property owners in 2021 through an estate file. Our understanding is that the property owner's grandmother arranged for the home to be given to them after she passed. The current tax value of the property as a whole is $72,280, and there is an outstanding tax bill for the property just over $4,000. The structures and property used to be part of the neighboring manufactured home park. A subdivision by deed was recorded and split the home from the park. Since 2023, our department has processed 6 code enforcement cases, which included over 27 inspections. Last summer, one of these cases went through the full process, and the county paid over $3,500 to a contractor to have the site completely cleaned up. Numerous calls have also been made from neighbors to not only our department, but to the county police department and the Department of Social Services as well. If we estimate that our staff has spent at least 1 hour a week reviewing and discussing this property, we can easily estimate over 104 hours have been spent on reviewing this property. Our department has remained in communication with the other county departments in an effort to work towards finding a solution for the property owners and the neighbors in the community. This slide shows that not only has our department processed 6 cases over the past 2 years, but that 94 calls were made to the police department in a 3-year time period. This slide shows an estimate of the minimum amount that our department has spent towards this property. Please note that the cost for staff time included is based off of the middle salary point for a planner 2, We have also had multiple staff members reviewing this case in length, so this truly is an average but also a minimum cost of the staff time that has been spent on this. Staff has received emails about this property on a weekly basis for the past 2 years. Coordination between departments has been ongoing since the beginning of 2024. The minimum amount of funds spent on this property since 2023 from planning and zoning alone exceeds the amount to be collected in taxes on this property. These next few slides do have photos of the property. This first one was taken from 2023. The next photo was taken in January of 2025. And then this is the property on March 11th of this year. This is the date that the minimum housing case was created. Staff informed the property owners that a case was going to be created and made several attempts to coordinate the initial inspection with the property. With minimum housing inspections being completed on the interior of homes, our staff needs to have explicit permission from property owners giving us access to the home or have an administrative warrant. We reached out via phone calls, letters, and signs in the yard, all of which asked the property owners to contact our office so that we could schedule an inspection. On July 18th of this year, 3 of our staff members completed a walkthrough of the site after being granted permission from one of the property owners. This was after months of not getting replies. Our staff scheduled a date for the inspection with hopes that someone would be there to give us permission to do an inspection. One of the property owners was on site and did give us permission to complete the inspection. Over 50 photos were taken during this inspection. However, I've only included 6 for this presentation. The additional photos can be found in the inspection report, which is in your staff packets. This first set of photos shows that there is a loss of the structure's integrity after the property owners attempted to complete work on the house without permits. The photo on the left shows the piles of debris that are being dumped on the back of the property. These photos are taken from the inside of the house. The left photo shows one of the 2 bedrooms. You can see that there are no light fixtures, exposed wires, and unkempt conditions. The right photo shows where the walls were removed. No water would come out of the faucets during this inspection. Light was provided only through the windows and floor lamps. Electricity source for the lamp was not confirmed, although we suspect a temporary service was being used. The next slide shows pictures from the bathroom. As you can see, there's no light source, no ventilation, and no water, all of which are required by code. Because of the nature of the home, there were several items that needed to be repaired within 48 hours. These items were noted at the inspection and shared with the property owner along with additional guests who were on site. Our staff completed follow-up inspections to see if any work was made to address the items noted as emergency situations, and no changes were made. Staff continued to reach out to the property owners after the initial inspection and wants it known that the signs that were placed on the property in an attempt to get in contact with them were also removed by the property owners. Another sign notifying of this meeting tonight was also placed on the property, and as you can see in the photos submitted earlier, it has also been removed. To recap, the property continues to be a nuisance for the neighbors. Several calls and emails have been made about trespassing, burning trash on site, and people continuing to go onto the property even after we had it boarded as it was determined to be vacant. Staff is recommending demolition of the structures. If an ordinance is approved, and any costs incurred to abate the property would be placed as a lien on the property to be collected either in a future sale or as a tax on the property. A formal RFP would be published in accordance with uniform guidance policies, and then after demolition, our department would work with our tax department to complete any lien processes and work towards foreclosing on the property. Mr. Chairman, this does conclude my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Any citizens wishing to comment on this at this time? Seeing none, any questions from the Board of Commissioners? Mr. Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Jamie, if I'm seeing this correctly, are there 2 structures on site?
Yes.
Okay. One, I guess, just like a storage building type thing, or
I think it was originally a garage, but it acts as a storage building now.
it's not attached, correct?
Correct, it's detached.
Okay. And the grandchildren are the current owners of the property?
Yes.
Are they on site?
Not currently. The granddaughter has since moved out of the house. I think it's been a few months, and the grandson was taken out of the house.
So there are no quote-unquote residents on site?
No legal residents.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Bailey.
This is just mainly a question. What did you said the cost for demolition?
This would be the first case that I've actually processed with the demolition, so I don't have a general estimate of what that would cost. I'm assuming it's going to be over our typical abatement costs, which usually end up around $5,000. So we would likely have to put this out for a bid and do a formal request for proposals.
All right, if it was approved, this is more of a question because I don't know. Would this qualify for something for the fire departments to practice? To burn it down and, okay.
Sorry. Brian Skiba.
Here comes the man in the picture.
Chad, while he's coming up, Alan may remember about 20 years ago down off Linwood Road, the old mountain guy owned the property, owed taxes. Mullinax, yes, sir. And he, the fire department, I think the city's fire department wanted to do it. They begged us to do it for training. And I think that, as you asked, I think that's a very distinct possibility that they can do that.
So
Yeah.
the rules for burning have gotten a whole lot stricter over the years, and you essentially have to have a complete house that can be completely used for training purposes. The guidelines are a whole lot stricter. I don't know that I would feel safe allowing this one to be burned because of the structural integrity of it and the likelihood of collapse. What will more than likely happen with this one is I will ask our folks from the landfill to go out and take this one. We'll take this one down and take it to the landfill ourselves.
That works.
Any other questions from the Board of Commissioners this time? Commissioner Fraley, you remember that? If there are no additional comments, I will declare the public hearing closed, and we will vote on the item. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Sheehan. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. County Commission will take citizens' comments on public hearing to amend Resolution 2022-099 to authorize Gaston County Level 4 incentive grant pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 158-7.1 and authorize Gaston County to amend the Economic Development Agreement, EDA, with Edgewood Industrial Phase 1 owner, LP. Ms. Lisa Summey, Assistant Director of the EDC, will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Blazer.
Thank you, Chairman Brown. The EDC has been working with Trinity Capital Partners, which their legal name for this property is Edgewood Industrial Phase 1 owner LP. We've been working with them for a few years on the Edgewood 85 Business Park. Back in 2022, the developer did receive approved incentives on a two-phase project. That two-phase project was going to be 1 million square feet of industrial space. Since 2022, we all know that there's been a couple million square feet that's been built in Gaston County. One of those is Trinity at Delta Business Park. So they actually built 878,000 square feet at another location. So with the market here in Gaston County and the region, there was a lot of industrial space available. Trinity thought it was best at the time to kind of hold off on the Edgewood 85 development. Since then, the market's closed up a little bit, and Trinity is actually in a place to reconfigure that business park plans. So they're working on that right now. And instead of doing a two-phase project, they're hoping to do a one-phase project. It's actually going to be a little bit smaller than 1 million square feet, but more investment. Back in 2022, the number that they proposed was over 44 million of industrial or investment in the industrial space. Now they're looking at somewhere around 500,000 square feet, a little less, a little more, kind of just depends. But the number that they're throwing out is over 60 million. So we are asking to amend the current agreement that we have with Trinity from a two-phase project, which was going to give them level 2 for the first one, a level 3 for the second one, to a one-phase project to include a level 4 incentive, which is going to be a 10-year grant. We're also hoping to propose to amend the agreement to extend that date. Usually when we go into the agreements, they have 3 or 5 years to do that development. We're on that time now, so we'd like to extend that date maybe for another 3 or 5. I think the attorneys will end up agreeing on that date, but that's proposed as well. This will help Gaston County EDC really recruit new companies or local expansions here in Gaston County for the single industrial user. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any citizens wishing to comment on this at this time? Any questions from the Board of Commissioners?
Chair.
Commissioner Hovis?
Thank you, Chad. The original development, I guess we're developing less space and reserving other space for something in the future?
Potentially. So there will be additional land there.
Correct.
They're hoping to have a single tenant user use the entire property. That is the.
Expand it to their needs?
Expand it to their needs. That is the plan. Again, they'll have more investment, but they will have a little bit of property left if plans change.
Because it looks like you're using approximately 65% of what was originally proposed.
Correct.
Thank you.
And I hear we're actually close on this, correct? With somebody maybe looking at this?
Possibly, yes.
Any other from the Board of Commissioners wish to speak at this time? Seeing none, if there are no additional comments, I will declare the public hearing closed. We'll vote on the item. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 second. We'll take a brief moment to reflect on how this night's going. Hopefully, I am talking rather slow enough tonight since we were asked to talk slower before. That's what the lady said. So it wasn't me.
Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Sheehan.
If you can clarify on the resolution, item number 2, just want a little bit of clarification on the chairman and vice chairman can execute documents. That is not saying that there is not voting authority coming from the board before that takes place, correct?
I think that just comes from part of EDC where we just, after they approve it, the board has approval, and then I sign the documents afterwards, like the same I would do for a meeting, for what we vote on tonight, I would be signing. The same way those would all, every board action would come through this board specifically for that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And make sure if it's not, we'll make sure we put that in the record for that. Any other questions? Seeing none, now I will declare the public hearing closed. I have a motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Sheehan. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Gaston County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing to approve the Gaston County Level 1 Incentive Grant pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 158-7.1 and to authorize Gaston County to enter into an Economic Development Agreement, EDA, with the Project CNC. Ms. Lisa Summey, Assistant Director of Economic Development, can provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Summey.
Thank you, Chairman Brown. Project CNC is a local company here in Gaston County already. They're looking to expand their operations by investing a little over $4 million in just machinery and equipment. This company does have operations outside of Gaston County and outside North Carolina, so they have the ability to do this production somewhere else, but they're hoping to do it right here in Gaston County. Again, they are looking to invest $4 million in machinery and equipment. At this time, they have not said if any jobs are going to come with this, but it will help them retain those jobs. And then after the approvals here tonight, if it is approved, it will go to the local municipality for approvals for the Level 1 grant. That is just a 5-year grant for the machinery and equipment. The first year is a 90% reimbursement on that, and then it goes down to 50% in year 5. Again, the company has to make their investments, has to pay their tax bills in order to receive that reimbursement on their tax grant. Happy to answer any questions if you had any.
Any citizens wishing to comment on this issue at this time? Seeing none, any from the Board of Commissioners? Seeing none as well, if there are no additional comments, I will declare the public hearing closed. I will ask for a motion. Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Sheehan. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing requesting permission to apply for the NCDOT PTD FY27 Community Transportation Program 5311 grant. Enter into an agreement with the North Carolina DOT and provide the necessary assurances of required local match. Mr. Michael Kuhn, Assistant Director of Social Services, will provide a brief overview. Once he has completed his comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Mr. Kuhn.
Thank you, Chairman Brown. Evening, Commissioners. I would like to present to you the fiscal year 27 Community Transportation Program Grant. This is a state and federally funded program administered by the Public Transportation Division of the North Carolina Department of Transportation. The purpose of this grant is to support general public transportation services in rural North Carolina, to provide a coordinated transportation network, to enhance access in rural areas to health care, shopping, education, employment, public services, recreation, and to encourage the most efficient use of all transportation funds used to provide passenger transportation in rural areas through the coordination of programs and services. As part of the admin grant, we will request a total amount of $235,261 with a 15% local match of $35,290. The admin grant will help cover the salaries and fringe benefits of the Support Services Administrator, Accounting Tech 2, and Billing Specialist, support the cost of training, travel, and leased computer software, which is our scheduling software, Route Match. I'll take any questions you all might have.
Thank you, sir. Are there any citizens wishing to comment on this at this time? Seeing none, are there any from the Board of Commissioners? Mr. Bailey?
Yes, it's not necessarily for you, but the board, just a question. We had discussed earlier maybe going in a different direction with access. Want to maybe question on if we're wanting to go into this, if we're may not be funding access in the future.
I'll take that question. So, yes, that's been discussed and is currently being discussed internally. This action will not prohibit any future action. This would be necessary regardless.
Mr. Hovis?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one question. What do we see as the citizen participation in this presently? How many citizens are utilizing this service?
Fiscal year 25, we provided 30,429 trips. Would you like me to break those trips down for you?
I just wanted a barometric pressure of, okay, is it 20 people? Is it 100 trips? 30,000 is a significant number.
Yes, sir. It's pretty significant.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Kuhn, have you seen a decline or influx or in anything that's happening there, or is it about the same? Is it steady?
That's a great question. We have, we constantly evaluate the utilization of the trips. And like, for instance, we had a deviated fixed route that used to run from the transit hub right there in the city out to the campus at Gaston College. And when City Transit changed their transportation over to go Gastonia from the bus routes, we noticed a sharp decline in the utilization of that particular route. So we switched that over to make that a demand response route. So we are constantly looking at the demand and adjusting our utilizations to make sure that we're as efficient as possible and that we're saving as many county dollars as possible.
In the past years, has Medicaid or have they picked up that more, or has it been pretty much flat, or have they raised their cost of what they're paying?
So, you know, we moved away from the Medicaid trips in 2018 and divested those out to private sector vendors.
Right.
Because we knew that Medicaid reform was coming and managed care was coming, and they use actually a private sector broker for those trips. One of the concerns that we have is that particular broker, Motive Care, we've received word that they have filed bankruptcy. And so we're not sure how that will impact the Medicaid transportation as far as the state plans go and things like that going forward. And so I think it makes it really critical that we keep a stable foundation within access to be able to get those Medicaid trips and get people to those appointments if there's an issue at the state level with those state vendors and state brokers.
And that's what I'm getting, I guess. So we would have, if they did file bankruptcy and left, would we be able to access what we were doing before? Do we have that plan in place, or will the state have to put that in place?
We have maintained good relationships with those private sector vendors. It would take some work, but if that falls through, we're ready to be able to make whatever adjustments we need to with the current situation we have at Access and with our vendors. Yes, sir.
Any other comments from the Board of Commissioners? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve? Motion made by Commissioner Keeger, seconded by Commissioner Fraley. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Thank you. This concludes tonight's public hearing. Excuse me. Are there any revisions to the board agenda items to be pulled tonight?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Sheehan.
from the consent agenda, I'd like to pull item G and item AC, please.
G and AC.
Yes, sir.
All righty. Yes, Commissioner Bailey.
Yes, I'd like to pull item C and item AI.
AI. G as in girl. Do I hear a motion to approve the business agenda with items G, AC, C, and AI pulled from the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I need to point out one revision. The administration revision was made to the item AD, correct the funding accounts to the ordinance of the BCR. You have the revised copy at your seat. I would assume that's this. Okay, just so everyone has it. Do I hear a motion to approve with those items pulled, G, AC, C, and AI? Motion made by Commissioner Kieger, seconded by Commissioner Hovis. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. You're provided with the draft of the minutes for the regular meeting of 7/22, the regular meeting of 8/26. Are there any revisions? Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Our next item on the board is citizens' recognition. A portion of the board's agenda is set aside for the purpose of allowing citizens an opportunity to offer comments and suggestions. This comment period is not intended to require commission staff to answer any questions or provide a response. Questions requiring response shall be answered as soon as possible through the county manager's office. Citizen recognition tonight will be limited to 3 minutes. Citizens will be called to the name, state your name and address for the record. First citizen to speak tonight is Ms. Laura Hamilton.
Good evening. Laura Hamilton, 107 Bristlecone Court, Gastonia, 28056. I wanted to speak real quick tonight just to let the county commissioners, the board know, as well as all the citizens watching. I am the new Gaston County Toys for Tots coordinator, taking over for the previous one who did it for 5 years. I did leave a couple of Toys for Tot business cards over at the PIO desk if anybody is interested. I am asking for any businesses who would like to be a toy drop-off box site where you would be collecting toys from the public to go out to the toysfortot.org website. You'll search for local campaign and you'll find our campaign and sign up through the online portal so I can look at your application and approve it so we can get you out there for the public to know you exist. Applications for anyone who is requesting toys, that will be opened up for access starting October 1st. We will not be giving out toys until November, but the applications will be opened up at that time. And I just wanted to make everybody aware of it. Toys for Tots is starting next week.
If you don't mind, if you get that flyer, once you get everything set up to Adam, maybe we can post it inside of our buildings to help out where we can.
Would you like a box to go with the flyer or just a flyer
Whatever
information?
you'd like to give us, man, we'd love to participate.
Okay, I did leave the information with him. Reach out to me so I can figure out how many we need and which locations you would like them put at. And I will get the box guy, who's not going to be happy with me, to get that set up and put on the schedule.
Don't box him into a corner. We're good. Thank you.
Oh, it's okay. He's my husband. He'll be fine. Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
The next person to speak is Corey Jonas.
Good Good evening. Corey Jonas, 105 Robinson Avenue, Mount Holly. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for your time. Tonight I wanted to speak to you about, take a few minutes to discuss the importance of ISO inspections affecting our volunteer fire departments and how they affect both residents and businesses within Gaston County. The Insurance Services Office, or ISO, reviews fire departments on factors such as staffing levels, training, equipment, and response capabilities. The results of those inspections are used by insurance companies to determine premiums for the homeowners and the businesses in our county. A lower ISO rating translates into lower insurance costs, while higher ratings can mean higher premiums. In many cases, the differences can add up to hundreds of dollars for homeowners each year, or significantly thousands for businesses. Maintaining and improving these ratings requires ongoing effort. Our volunteer firefighters dedicate their time and training to responding, but they also rely on the resources to ensure equipment, facilities, and staffing are at levels to meet the ISO standards. Adequate support helps departments continue to operate effectively, not only for emergency response, but also for strengthening the community's overall preparedness. It's also important to note that ISO ratings are not just about cost savings. They are a measure of readiness. They reflect our ability to respond quickly and effectively when emergencies occur. By supporting staffing and resources, departments can continue to meet their objectives, protect property, and contribute to safer neighborhoods, all while working to keep insurance costs manageable for our citizens. In summary, ISO inspections serve as both a benchmark and an incentive for fire departments. They encourage continuous improvement, reward preparedness, and create tangible financial benefits for the community. Our volunteer departments remain committed to this standard and benefit with continued partnership. We ensure these benefits extend to everyone in our county. So we couldn't do that without your participation in helping supporting these volunteer fire departments. Upcoming in the next couple months, we actually have 2 of these inspections coming to Gaston County. One with the Spencer Mountain Volunteer Fire Department that will take place on October 21st with Chief Flannery. And then the other is my own department, East Gaston Volunteer Fire Department, located in Mount Holly. That inspection will take place on Monday, November the 10th. And we wanted to open our doors to you all to come witness this firsthand if you want to see what an ISO inspection takes and what the departments go through to effectively try to lower these ratings and, provide a better service to our customers, the citizens of Gaston County. So thank you for your time.
What time Monday?
They usually start around 8:30. It's about an all-day event. There's several things that the inspectors go through, and that's through the North Carolina Office of State Fire Marshal, who sends an inspector to do that. Thank you.
Do I hear a motion to approve? Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda with items G, AI, AC, and C being pulled?
Yes.
Motion made by Commissioner Kieger, seconded by Commissioner Hovis. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. The first item on the pulled list is going to be C, just in alphabetical order. Commissioner Bailey.
Yes, sir. I have a couple things on this. We had mentioned, we talked about it earlier, I guess in the year. The South Point access for the parking, it's come back up again. I've had a few people contact me on that. And I've talked to a few people at the county on fee schedules to the rest of the county. There's no other park in Gaston County that charges for parking. I think one of the things a couple of commissioners were saying about what about some of the money coming in from there. We look at the schedules, how much money we're making or losing. But it's still bringing in money when we're renting picnic spots and tents for the covers and everything. I don't see that if we forego the price for parking for Gaston County residents to where it would be anything substantial to hurt that area. That's my thoughts on that, and I think with Gaston County taxpayers paying for that area, why would that be the only park in Gaston County where they're having to pay to park? that open for discussion, or?
It will be, just I gotta figure out how to,
Okay.
I'm just, since the original item was for the amendment of the current Gaston County fee schedule for building and development services, should we make those separate?
There's a lot of ways to get to there. If the board does want to make a change along the lines of Commissioner Bailey, it may be best to have a separate item. I believe the rules require unanimous vote to amend the agenda today. That's the rules on that. You could try to amend the motion before you and try to tack on that discussion too. I wouldn't say it's unacceptable, but.
I don't mind amending the rules just for this sake, because I want it to be heard, but I think it's two separate items, so I want to make sure everybody's clear on what we're doing on that part. Would anybody have a problem if we do a C and a C1, and we vote separately on that? Is that?
So I would say I would recommend a motion to add to the agenda to discuss Commissioner Bailey's point and to consider an amendment.
But it has to be unanimous.
The motion to put that on the agenda would have to be unanimous, and then once it is on the agenda, and
Then we can discuss it.
Then you can discuss it and take action.
All right, so I'll take a motion to approve C1 as the amendment to fee schedule.
For parks.
South Point
Township
South
Park.
Point Park access. Is that acceptable as a motion for anybody? Motion made by Commissioner Bailey for the fee schedule to be amended for the South Point access. That's what we'll be voting on for C1. This will have to be just to add it to the agenda.
No changes be made, just to add to the agenda.
No changes be made on the first one. So do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Fraley. Any discussion?
Yeah, let me play devil's advocate to Mr. Bailey's recommendation. This park is somewhat unique. We don't have anything like it anywhere around the county. And often citizens want us to do user fees, let those that use it fund it, which, it's pretty common sense type of business. But you're gonna have people paying for that live in Cherryville, that live in Randall, that live in Dallas and High Shoals, that probably never go down to Lake Wiley in Belmont. And it is unique because of the boating and, but I kind of like the way it's set up now. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing it reduced a little bit, but at the same time, we just started this recently, and we're still trying to figure out everything, what the costs are, what the liabilities are. And I don't want to put the manager on the spot, but I'd like to get his opinion since we've hired him to lead and guide us. What's your opinion on this?
Sure. So it's obviously a unique amenity. And when we started down this path, the only other one was the one in York County, which they charged fees. They had an in-county rate and an out-of-county rate. They since have shifted that. And so some things have changed. However, we haven't had enough data, and there was positions approved to help maintain this park. And those positions, while they won't be fully funded by the fees, the idea was we're going to add positions. The fees will help pay for the positions. The taxpayers won't have to bear the burden from a property tax standpoint. And we've only had like 2 months of collections for this, so there's really not enough data to give you an opinion on, is it sufficient? Are the fees sufficient? Is it bringing in enough revenue to pay for it? What is the actual revenue? And so I guess really there's not enough information to say, is the juice worth the squeeze yet? I imagine that the attendance of the park will diminish as the fall continues. There's other future plans for this park that I don't want to get too far ahead of, but in terms of like RV sites, et cetera. And so that's another way to control the volume in there. So you'll always have to try and control volume, especially as you're allowing people to rent these sites for overnight stays. So there's just a lot that kind of goes into it, and we just don't have enough data at this point to say whether the current structure is adequate or if something different needs to be looked at in the future.
Thank you. And something else I'd like to add, that, you know, if there were no fees to get in there, in today's, the way the world's going today, there's no telling what'll happen down there. You know, vagrants, homeless, I think it would be somewhat of a nightmare for law enforcement to some extent also, if people could just go in there anytime with the picnic shelters and the tables. I would love to see if the board would be willing to give management till maybe this time next year to see what, you know, the full year would bring. I've not had anybody complain that uses it, and I've only been down there a couple times, but you know, I want to give management a time to do their job properly, and 2 months doesn't seem like we've given them enough time.
Mr. Hovis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When we took this property over and considered taking it over from Duke Energy several years ago, as this process started, the other amenities that the manager was referring to were kind of on the drawboard and preliminary, and that's kind of being put together. It is definitely unique. It's the only county park that we have that will have this type of a draw or this type of appeal. And it's the only county park that will have this type of cost to maintain. And in the budget process, we had said that we recognize that this is unique and it's different. That was said, and that was in my response to Jim's email request to talk about it. But I will be voting against adding this to the agenda, because we need to let staff do what staff needs to do to tell us where we are and what our costs are, and not create another unfunded mandate on the citizens of Gaston County. We need to understand that. We need to find out what the amenities are going to cost, the expansion of this park. It has an opportunity to be a great thing, and a much better thing than it exists today. But we have to play it through the process, and we don't have to cut it short before we ever get there. And like the manager says, 2 months worth of data is not enough, and of course we're getting into, hope some point in time we're getting into the fall. Now right now, I don't think Mother Nature understands that, but it will cool off and the water access demand will go down. But I will be voting not to add it to the agenda, to let staff do what they need to do, and us prepare a fee schedule that understands as much of the cost recovery as we can, so that the county doesn't have an unfunded mandate.
Mr. Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know, Mr. Roden, we had talked about this previously on the 1 month. What was our second month revenue, just for curiosity? Do you have that information?
I honestly don't have that with me, but I can get it for you. I don't know if Michael has it or knows what it might be. Do you know?
Please, sir.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, while he's coming up, right now the motion is, yes, sir.
We're going to go back to the motion. We're just still in discussion.
Although I don't have the information for the shelters at the moment, I do know that the service fees, user fees associated with the vehicle traffic was $2,100 for August. It was $6,200 in July.
So we got a total since inception of under 10 grand so far, is that correct?
That's right, just $8,300 for the first 2 months. It was enacted on July 1st. User fee.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Bailey.
Yes, just to respond a little bit to what Mr. Keeger, he brought up, and that was one of the things that people have been contacting me. The boat landing doesn't charge. You can put your boat in next door to the lake and then park, and it doesn't cost you anything. Okay, and that's one of the things when I think with the shelters and your overnight parking would bring in the revenue. I'm just looking at people that's going to come there and bring their children there during the day and park for $7 that is a resident of Gaston County for that fee to be waived. That's it. Because I know there's shelters, they rent shelters, and if you're talking about overnight RVs, any vehicle overnight, I can see a fee.
I think what I want to add to it is, I like Tom's idea. I don't like the fee schedule being where it's at. I think we took a shot in the dark when we first started that to figure out what it may be. I I think it could be reduced some to maybe a $5 fee, and that we were adding cars and how people would do it. So maybe later on down the road, after we get the data, I'd like to see that. But I know that we drag the beach. We do a lot of things down there to clean up. Cleanup has been one of the biggest processes. I don't know if anybody in this room has been there. If you haven't been there, it's probably one of the nicest locations on the lake. And I mean, bar none, is clean. And we used to get, Lake Wiley Marine Commission used to yell at us because, hey, it was so dirty. And we couldn't clean up around that corner. And we did it. And thanks to Parks and Recreation, Michael, your group. But we do charge fees for people to come and rent fields and do things throughout the county for different sporting activities, for whatever it may be. And, you know, even though we're charging to go down there, I do think it's user-friendly. I do think it serves a purpose. We will have county police will end up putting a boathouse there, we know, because of the Lake Wiley Marine Commission. So there's going to be several amenities, and then plus we can do the other things that have been added. I'd like to just see this just kind of continue with the board's action to see if it goes forward to next year to see where we can go, because obviously I don't think we're going to get much push for what's happening down there other than probably rentals of the facilities itself rather than the actual oncomers. But with no other questions, the motion is to change the fee schedule for the Foul Point access. It will have to be unanimous in order to get it to have a vote for it. So this right here is the vote to have it added to the agenda. Have a motion by Commissioner Hovis. It was seconded by Commissioner Fraley. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? I don't know where that was. Is that 5-1 or everybody?
6-1.
6-1. 6-1 to fail, so it will not be added. So now we will vote on the original motion, which is item C for Building and Development Services to amend the current Gaston County fee schedule to adjust the Building and Development Services fees. Do it. Okay.
That's okay.
Do you want to be separate from this?
I was just going to bring it up, but just something for discussion,
Okay.
for future. Myself and Assistant Manager Skiba had talked about this. It had been brought up by a few people, and I just wanted it addressed for future. We had talked about the fees for building a home in Gaston County, and it's on I'm sorry.
Is this going to be inside the same motion, Brian? Okay.
No, this is just.
I want to make sure before I separate it. Okay,
Right, yeah, this is just a discussion for maybe future. It's been brought up by some homeowners, some developers, even the developers were okay with it. There's a process when you build a home. It's money after money after money after money to get it zoned, to get permits, inspections, on and on and on. And one of the things that they had brought up, for the developers coming in and the developers actually in Gaston County, they have no problem with that fee. Some of the things that was brought up was if I had a 2-acre lot and I wanted to build a house on it for me, is there any way that the cost for all that permitting could be reduced for that one person instead of a developer? And I said, I don't know, but I can discuss it. And that's where I promised them that I would bring it up.
Brian, can you look at that and see how we can start working on, maybe just say they're good, bad, or the ugly on finding, if that help you get that?
Yes.
Some discussion working with the manager's office and yourself and Commissioner Bailey and any other commissioners who want to be in part. We'll go back to, I need a motion to approve the Building and Development Services to amend the Gaston County fee schedule to adjust Building and Development Services fees.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Kieger, seconded by myself. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? All opposed again? 1, 2? 5-2. Ma'am. All right, so C is out. The next item will be G. Commissioner Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I remember correctly, and if I'm incorrect, please someone let me know. But as our previous board action, as this pertains to this matter, did we not decide to table this discussion until December before we revisited this? And so I'm a little bit confused as to why it got pushed up a few months early, and I just need some clarification as to why we're here now.
Well, I put it on the agenda, so it was formality. We've already voted to put those agenda items away. This right here was to move the money over to the CIF, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Yeah, and it parks it for something as we need for a jail study or anything that goes on in those items. So we had already talked about in the meetings before to eliminate those until we heard from the state.
Okay, I mean, I do know that we all received that letter from our district attorney.
No, we didn't. I didn't actually receive that letter.
Oh, would you like a copy?
I would, please.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
I still have not received that, and I looked in the emails
If you would pass
totally
that
for
to
it,
the
and I was
chairman,
not
please.
made to that.
It's just a little concerning to me based on that information, which I'll give you a second to read that, Mr. Chairman.
And I think, look at this here, it just talks about what we had already discussed in that last vote where it was 5-2 to remove those positions. But this here is to move the money back into the CIF. It has nothing to do with what we've already created in the positions. Any other discussion on this? Mr. Bailey?
Just a question on that, and okay, I'm just asking for clarification. So you're saying that in December, when we readdress this, that if we had enough votes, we could still put that money back into the sheriff's office to get that funding?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions? Motion made by,
Mr. Chair,
oh, Mr. Sheehan.
if I might, Mr. Henderson, would you mind approaching? Short, briefly, please. Thank you, sir. I know the sheriff can't be here this evening because of an event, but I did have one question.
Good evening.
Good evening. It is my understanding that y'all are in the process of performing some labor studies to get some concrete data as to how staffing is. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And you will have that prepared prior to December when we revisit this, correct?
That is correct, sir.
That's all I had, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion on this matter? Motion was made, who made the motion? We have a motion on that yet? Motion, I guess, do we have a motion to approve this money to be moved? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Kieger. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? This is 5-2, Madam Clerk. Next item is AI. AI, Jim? Mr. Bailey?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I actually just pulled this mainly to learn a little bit more and let the people of Gaston County made aware of what this money's going for and how it's going to benefit the county. Is that a good question?
Another good question. We're on here just so, like I said, I get to sponsor a lot of things because I'm the chairman, but one of the things that goes on, if you haven't noticed that the Charitable American Legion has been the kind of the biggest piece of the puzzle for American Legion, especially in North Carolina, not just North Carolina, but basically, if you recognize what Shelby had gotten with the World Series, the state had been given to Charitable. Well, one of the things that happened, Cherville was so successful, a lot of the money we put in there, if you've seen the place, is state-of-the-art. The problem is you go up there and you burn up. And so we had 8 teams that were there for just the varsity senior legion, and then there was 8 teams for the junior legion, which, sorry, we didn't win to participate, but maybe next year. But one of the things that happens up there, if you haven't been there, they do bring these kids from all over the state, and most of them have to stay in our hotels.
So we require all of them.
Right, so they're all required to stay now in that. Now, this has turned into a regional event, which I think it has more teams, and the more regional event that it has, it requires them to stay here, but now they're from out of state. These are from different states. These regional teams are not from North Carolina, so that's some of the things that happen. Michael, if you explain the Heads in Beds initiative and how that works with your group over at Travel and Tourism, please.
Yes, the way that this has worked out is that, as the Commissioner said, we've in the past hosted multiple state tournaments, and then this past year we had the opportunity to host 2 regional tournaments. So it was a super regional, if you will. We hosted the Mid-Atlantic region in Cherville, and we also hosted right after that the Southeastern region in Cherville. So this gave us the opportunity to host 2 regions from outside of our own region. And Commissioner, I'm sorry, but the city manager, city manager Brian Dalton and Coach Bobby Reynolds came and talked to our Tourism Advisory Board about this need for a shade structure. And the board is well aware because of the past support that we've given to Legion Baseball there in Cherville and the success that we've seen these smaller 8-team tournaments have. Our board was familiar with it, and they voted actually to release tourism fund balance to support the funding of a shade structure, because we felt that in doing so, we could continue to use Fraley Field in Cherville as a draw for more American Legion tournaments. The American Legion does like this site location because we're playing in Cherville the week before the World Series. The winners there at the regionals then move on just next door to Shelby. So we feel as though going forward, we can acquire a multi-year deal with American Legion to continue these super regionals.
And we also have the opportunity to keep the state in Gaston County as well, due to the fact that Cherville would be the regional partner now rather than the state partner, so we may be able to double down in back-to-back weeks on that particular issue. So that's one, and they also have travel ball, which we support in different initiatives as well, that they're playing there. So, Mr. Fraley.
I just wanted to add a few things. Thank you, Michael. But yeah, last year Coach Reynolds said just in the state tournament alone, he took checks to the hotels and motels for over $33,000, and with the Southeast Regional coming in, that's going to be a commitment. They're hoping for 10 years, and with the 13 teams all coming from all over the Southeast, they'll all have to stay here. Some of the teams closer by in the state tournaments just went back and forth. They didn't have to spend the money, but so that will, at least double that number, and then you talk about multiply that times 10 years. That's going to be a lot of heads in beds, a lot of family, friends spending money on, food and drink and all the other things they'll be doing. So it's going to be a good thing for the county. And I do want to make everybody aware that's not aware, these are not property tax dollars. These are travel and tourism dollars that have to be spent on these types of projects. So just wanted to add that, and anything else I'll be glad to answer if I can. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Bailey.
The main reason why I brought this up was to let the people of Gaston County know what we are doing with some of this money. And it's travel and tourism money, I think, very well spent. But a lot of people is not aware of it, what's going on up there, and I think it's a good thing.
I think the biggest thing that you pulled up tonight, not necessarily saying, but the 2 items you pulled have been probably the 2 nicest gyms on opposite ends of the county. I mean, if you haven't been to Fraley Field lately, I'll say this, it's for a baseball field. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, they get that canopy. That's kind of the last piece of the puzzle to make it exactly what it needs to be to attract these type of tournaments.
Maybe that Stanley team will be there next year. Do I have a motion to approve this as Commissioner Keeger has made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Bailey? Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. All right, so we have all the items pulled, nothing by the majority. Appointments, Commissioner Fraley.
Mr. Chairman, you missed my second pulled item. You jumped me.
What do we have?
I had AC.
I apologize. Item AC, Commissioner Sheehan.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Mr. Ray, I saw you jump in. Can you please come up? How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you, sir?
Good, good. Really quick and simple on this. I know from our discussions, this was not our initial first choice
That's
for
correct.
this location.
That's correct.
But on this one, I'm familiar with the site, and I know that it's going to be basically in this gentleman's front yard, line of vision.
Right.
What are we going to do to screen that, I guess, from him, and what steps are we taking to not impede his quality of life on his property? And then also, who's in charge of maintenance of that site moving forward?
So we've met with the property owner multiple times and had extensive discussions about the location of the pump station and the entrance, and there's an existing utility easement in that general area. So we will fence this with a decorative fence as opposed to chain link. We've had some discussions with him about the types of trees and shrubs that we will plant around the fence to provide attractive screening so that this is not an eyesore when he looks out in his front yard. And we've had some, we have an agreement to, with the town of Dallas, and they will eventually own and maintain this system. Part of that will involve the transfer of these assets once they're constructed, and the town of Dallas will maintain this location at that point. So it will be their responsibility to maintain the fencing and all the screening around the property, around this portion of his property.
Okay, and I guess we've got Dallas agreed to that, correct?
So they've agreed for us to transfer the assets. We will need to have some additional discussions with them as a part of that transfer to make sure that they maintain this site adequately. And I had that discussion with the property owner as well.
But you don't see an issue with getting that?
No, I don't.
Thank you, sir.
Do I have a motion to approve this as is? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Sheehan. Any more discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Appointments, Commissioner Fraley.
I have two, Mr. Chairman, one to the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, Gage Johnson, and one to the Local Emergency Planning Committee, Vincent Wong.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hovis. All in favor? Commissioner Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got one reappointment, Animal Care and Enforcement Advisory Board, Dr. Rick Hodes.
Seconded on that. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Bailey.
None at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Cloninger.
I have no appointments.
Commissioner Hovis.
Chair, I have none at all.
Commissioner Keeger.
None, but I will ask the audience here and on TV if anyone is interested in serving on the Nursing Home Community Advisory Committee. It's an at-large position, doesn't matter your profession.
I have two, if you don't mind. The County Commission, Fire Commission, to direct the board to put Chad Brown as the interim director of emergency management. Just kidding. Vincent Wong. Everybody a little hesitant on that one. Nobody wanted to jump in there.
Right.
So anyway, Fire Commission, Vincent Wong as the interim director of emergency management as the fire marshal. Seconded by Commissioner Fraley. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Congratulations, Mr. Brown. The next one is the Lake Wylie Marine Commission. Several applications received. Wesley Hunsucker to receive that designee.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Keeger. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Reports, Commissioner Fraley. Mr. Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick little update here. I have taken an opportunity as of late to visit and tour several of our county departments over the last few weeks. As of this morning, I have been to building inspections, North Carolina Cooperative Extension, Office of Capital Improvement, Register of Deeds, Planning and Zoning, Risk Management, Finance, Board of Elections, Economic Development, Tax, Parks, Rec and Tourism, Budget, and Process Improvement. That's a mouthful. What I would like to say is we have got some fantastic employees in this county that I don't think get enough credit for what they do. I have been very impressed with those I have met with. We've got top-notch individuals in this county. We're not perfect, ladies and gentlemen, but I think we do a tremendous job with where we are. And I just, we need to let them know, Mr. Chairman, that they are greatly appreciated. And we couldn't do what we do without these folks on the ground.
Thank you for going to those. I think your wife said you need to work a little more. But
I hear that all the time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just a couple things. I have been kind of out of the area for about the last month since our last meeting, so I haven't had a lot to do. My daughter got married on Saturday, this past Saturday, and I wish them the best. She actually traveled all over the state, wound up in Wilmington, North Carolina, teaching down there for a few years. She met her lifelong mate, and guess where he was from? Belmont. So it proves you can go outside of the area, but your best person you're going to find for the rest of your life is from home. On a much sadder note, we lost a good friend and past neighbor to addiction the last few days. And I just want to remind people, if you have family or friends that are struggling, put a hand out, pray for them, be there for them, because you never know, when you're going to lose somebody. Be it alcohol or drugs, it hits home. And the county has numerous resources for people that has problems, and if it's a family or friend, try to get them to use some of these resources. He was a business owner, family man, and he had troubles before and was, we thought, had gotten a little better. But I got the phone call the other day when we lost him. So pray for him and his family. I'm not going to say his name just for respect for the family. Just if you have family and friends, reach out to them.
sorry for your loss, sir. Mr. Connor.
I attended several events in the community. I went to the Bells Across America in downtown Belmont with the ringing of the bells with the Major William Chronicle DAR chapter and others. I also attended a commencement ceremony at Gaston College with adult high school diploma along with high school equivalent diploma, and that was a very meaningful program. I also attended the museum hosted an annual fundraiser at Luray Mill on Saturday night in the 70s disco, and it was a sold-out event with over 200 people. The room was full of a lot of individuals in our community, and it was clearly supported by the success of their Art and History Museum. It also, Ali Pisa spoke about the importance of a history and planning their vision for the future and how the arts enrich our lives. I was very proud of all their success there. And I also attended the dedication of the Carl J. Stewart Jr. Learning Center at Gaston College. Thank you.
Mr. Hovis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have one question that's still unanswered from our last meeting. Mr. Bailey made those comments about hiring individuals that weren't fully qualified into the volunteer fire service. I have reached out to him after about 2 weeks from our last meeting, and I still have not received any information. If we don't hear anything, we're just going to consider that like we do all these other anonymous letters that come to us. Somebody needs to step forward and let us do the due diligence necessary to make sure that that blind accusation is not true. To bring that up in a public meeting without having substantial backup and all that is not fair to our fire service, it's not fair to our citizens, and I look forward to you providing that information to me within the next week. Thank you.
Mr. Keeger.
I'm not going to give any reports this evening, but I would like to ask everybody, I'm sure it'll be everywhere, but this weekend will mark the first anniversary of the Hurricane Helene and the devastation to the western part of our state. That's it.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to say thank you to Commissioner Sheehan, Deputy White, for showing us around the courthouse on Tuesday, Wednesday? Yeah, one day last week. And I think one of the things that I want to bring up to the board, I want to have it recommended to put back is the fee schedule for the courthouse. After going over there and looking, I think we have, no offense to you, Ray, way too many signs that are just, there's nowhere to park other than, you know, some of the things. I don't mind us keeping the 10 spaces that we've designated for pay for employees. But I think we need to go back to looking at a fee schedule for that over there and what's going on, because it has become really, I think, and I don't know how Commissioner Sheehan feels about it, but we were, you know, trying to figure out what to do and looking at that and some other things. And so I want to thank you, Scott, for showing us around over there. We did get to go down to the annex. It's kind of distraught about those, I don't know what you call it. What do you call it? Holding cell? What is that? Where the officer pod. I mean, I'm just going to tell you, it's pretty bad. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to have somebody go in to work there that we provide employment to. So I would like to look at maybe Ray or Brian or Dan to look at something at that. I mean, I know nothing's perfect, and I know, but it's at the annex, and I know that's the board decision to try to get back in there. But I just kind of saw that, and I was very disappointed to know that we do put people in there with some of the floor look like this. Commissioner Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And you are correct, and I greatly appreciate your time, being able to free up your schedule to come. I know others couldn't make it because of out-of-town obligations, and that's just part of life. But it was very concerning. We have got to do something in that annex specifically. I wouldn't expect anybody to work in those conditions. And I'm glad to hear that you agree with that. It's very disheartening to know that we're expecting people to go in there and sit in that state a shift every day. And so I totally agree with you, and I would be in support of that. Back to the fee schedule of the parking lot, the previous funding that we received, is that still sitting in an account, Mr. Manager, or have we expelled that money, or what's the status of the previous funding received when it was paid parking?
So the fund balance for that was transferred at this point, still awaiting final bids to the Dallas High Shoals project, which could be, depending on how, obviously we got the water bids, but we're still waiting on sewer. So depending on how that comes in, it could be freed back up, but currently that's where it's at.
And what was the total of that approximately?
It was a little over $1.5 million.
And the reason I say that about I don't know what day that was built. Scott, do you know when the annex was built in between for the old jail and the new jail to be built? So it was just one of the things. I hope you guys will, and maybe we can get some pictures or something and kind of just let you guys see that. I don't know if is it one or two, I don't know how that works, but there were several there that it was pretty bad. 98, year of 98. So just want us to start taking that into consideration and looking at that one area to see how that goes. County Manager's report.
I don't have a report, but I want to ask for clarification. So would you like for us to come back with an analysis on reinstating parking fees at the courthouse, maybe a presentation on that, about what that would look like?
Yes, from me. It looks like it's kind of, just to revisit.
Yeah.
To revisit how that would look. Any other clarification you need?
That's all, thank you. Correct. We'll do that, and we'll bring it back at a work session.
County Attorney's report.
Nothing to report, Chairman.
No closed session. That's what I like to hear. Any other matters come before this board at this time? Seeing none, this concludes our meeting tonight. Our next work session will be Tuesday, October 14th, 6 p.m. here in the Harley B. Gaston Junior Public Forum Courthouse. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please remit those to Donna S. Buff at 704-866-3196. Good night. Don't eat popcorn anymore in here.